iScrappers, Tom from the iScrap app. Today is Wednesday, February 13th, 2019. Well, we'd like to wish everyone a very happy Valentine's Day, let's just say, in a purely plutonic scrap metal sense only. We love having you as viewers, as contributors, as people who constantly are posting to our website, posting reported prices, showing us loads of material, showing us different ways that you separate, talking about things that you do. We think that it's really awesome. In our Facebook group, the Scrap Metal Recycling Talk, we've seen more and more and more people interacting, liking, and subscribing like ever before. And because of that, we've seen more content, more information getting pushed into that, and more people have been able to learn about the market, how it works, and it's really been a very positive thing going forward. We hope that you continue to push more material to us. If there's anything that we can do to help you, do not even think twice about asking us. Post below, email us at info@iscrapapp.com. We're constantly trying to push more pricing to you, more information about the scrap markets to you. Our goal is to make your life easier and learn more about scrap metal. But in return, let us know what we can do to help make it easier by posting, saying hi, anything that we can do. We're always here to help when it comes to scrap metal needs. So, in the last week, we've seen the copper prices drop down a few cents per pound. Even though they've dropped down, we still saw the average reported prices for copper jump up. Why is that? Well, a lot of scrap yards had a week or so to be able to adjust their prices from the 10 to 12 cent increase that we saw. So we've seen some prices reported very high. We saw Bear Bright hit $2.50, and we saw a couple of other items like insulated copper wire and yellow brass recover as well. Question?
We do.
Great. Why not? I'll stop.
Rich has a question.
Hi,
First
Rich.
off, Rich said that cars and tin are up $20 per month to $160 a gross ton.
Great price.
And then also he asks, do you think cats are going are at their peak, or will they keep going up?
I think that the cats are at or close to their peak. I mentioned this briefly in the report that you can read when we're done with this live video. With the palladium prices jumping the way that it has, having the market climb so high, I think that between platinum, palladium, and rhodium kind of mixed together, I recently got an assay of some materials that we've sent out, and we've seen really strong numbers. I think now is as good a time as any to cash in if you've been holding or if you're thinking about holding for the future. Why be greedy for a market that has seen the palladium prices rise 42% in the last year? That's a huge number. Think about that. If you saw anything go up 42%, you would think one of two things. Wow, this is great because I made 42% more money, or wow, this is horrible because it cost me 42% more. In this case, if you're holding on to these catalytic converters, maybe you're not going to make 40% more, but you're certainly going to make 15-20% more than you were. Because don't forget, catalytic converters have 3 different metals, and they have a refining process, so you have to continue to know that there's going to be a wait and hold period when you're refining and selling these cats. So you can definitely make more money than you were a few months ago. Will you make more money in the future? Hell, if you're a gambler, you're welcome to hold on to them. Let us know if you have a crystal ball that we don't. I think the prices are in a good spot. I'd sell them if I were you. I also recommend selling material almost constantly so you never get caught in the crosshairs. Another question.
We have a question from Bill.
Hey, Bill.
He said, what are your thoughts on #1 steel in the next month?
Wow, I would say little to no movement. I'm happy to see that #1 steel prices have jumped about $15 per ton. I think that we are in a wait and see mode with these Chinese negotiations. I think that, as I mentioned in the report, again, that we'll post this afternoon, I think that some of these prices that we've seen have gone up because of the unfortunate accident that happened down in Brazil with over 150 people dying and the mine collapsing from the dam breaking loose. And I think this blip of steel prices rising is a short-term reaction, but we don't have a long-term solution. So I don't see the prices going up that rapidly. If anything, they could go down $30 to $50 per ton if we end up not coming to agreement with the Chinese. Question.
Another question. Bobby asks, is copper or clean actual coils going up anytime soon?
Again, great question, Bobby. Thank you. Aluminum prices have continued to really be flatlined, if not down, while copper is up, and we've seen some of the ACR pricing increase for the reported prices. Overall, the market still is not very strong. We've seen these markets really waver on a couple of different materials, aluminum, stainless, and lead products, and aluminum being such a large part of those ACRs, we've seen the copper prices carry them a little bit, but in my mind, they're probably 15 cents lower than they should be. But until aluminum has a rebound, I don't see any, real jump coming up. Another question.
Question from Candy. She asks, does anyone clean cats at home worth investigating?
Definitely do not do that. That is a horrible idea. It's a great question, but it's a horrible idea, and I'll tell you a couple of reasons why, Candy. When you look at a catalytic converter, the material that's inside looks almost identical, whether you have an aftermarket cat or a $200 exotic cat. The material looks the same. So when you cut them open or decant them, as is used in the catalytic converter community, the material looks the same. Let's say you go to your yard with this material in your hand and it weighs 2 pounds. Hey, this material came out of a $200 catalytic converter, you say. They say, well, how do we know it looks exactly the same as a material that came out of a $5 aftermarket cat? Now you're caught between a rock and a hard place. What do you do with this material that you've separated? Sure, you could bring them the empty can, the empty shell, but that doesn't mean that material came from that. There's no A to A or B to B or reference numbers on this material. So the best thing that you can always do is leave that material inside of the case. Sell it to the scrapyard. This way they can look at it and say, it's a standard domestic, it's an AC cat, it's a small foreign, it's a foreign light, it's a wire cat, it's a diesel pre, it's a DPF cat. This way they know. This way you can use, websites like rrcats.com to be able to send your pictures to, get updated pricing, and be able to have a quick response time. Companies like RR Cats, they're able to give you quotes and give you accurate quotes, but when you take it out and you bring that material to a yard or you try to sell it to, some type of online provider, they are never going to refine one cat worth of material, so you'll never know how much material is inside, even if it is that $200 catalytic converter. Great questions. We love them. Keep them coming. I'd love to continue to answer them. Aluminum, aluminum, like I mentioned a couple of seconds ago, has really flatlined and the market has been relatively weak. With the tariffs still being in place and very little positive news coming on the aluminum front, we've seen the new aluminum production prices dropping as well. While this is great for manufacturers such as carb people or different manufacturers making windows, doors, anything aluminum related, can companies, whether it's beer, soda, or any beverage in general, it's great for them because their prices have gone down, and you would think that those savings might get pushed to the American consumer, although it really hasn't been seen. I was reading an article recently about Whole Foods prices, where their prices have gone up 3% on a study taken over 6 months, where the same items were put in a basket 6 months ago versus the other day, and the prices have gone up. Now, I'm taking the Whole Foods article, but it is the same for most grocers right now, where larger companies like Procter & Gamble and these other companies that are coming up with all of your different food products, as well as, sanitizing and home health needs, all of those prices are starting to increase because they're seeing higher prices, so they're pushing them up. So the aluminum prices haven't really moved, and we haven't seen the overall market really improving. So we have optimism that the aluminum prices will rise, but don't forget, if they rise, these already rising consumer prices that we see every day, whether it's at the grocery store, the car dealer, or at the gas pump, will also continue to rise as well. Now, while we're on the gas subject, we've seen the oil prices and the gas prices remain relatively low, even with OPEC talking about curbing their output. Now, we want to see over the next 11 or 12 months if OPEC follows through and does not increase their output, but keeps it at a lower level. And even though the U.S. has become such a large oil exporter in the world, With problems like we have in Venezuela, just to name one, there are dozens of other ones that we could go into. We have to watch these gas prices to see what's going to happen going forward. Again, we've been talking about something for the last 6 months that is less than 2 weeks away, or excuse me, a little over 2 weeks away, 15 days away, and that is a tariff agreement potentially with the Chinese. Now, a little positive news, which shows that we have positive steps moving forward, is that President Trump said as long as we're getting close to an agreement before or around March 1st, I don't mind pushing those new tariffs getting instituted if we're getting relatively close with a deal with the Chinese. That is a very positive sign, but we have to wait and see what happens in the next few weeks. A lot of people have said that we're coming closer to a deal, and that's a great thing, but at the same time, we don't know what little curveballs could get thrown in that could drastically change the potential of a deal going into place. So we really have to be in a wait and see mode to see what's going to happen with some of these prices, with some of these trade deals, and with some of these future tariffs. It's not as easy as reading it and putting it into an oven. These are very complex stews that no one has any idea how to build, because a lot of these things have not been done before. So overall, the market has been very positive for the month of February. Maybe that's Cupid shooting its arrow into the heart of scrap and making everyone fall in love a little more with some of these copper and steel prices. We just think that outside market factors are probably causing it. But hey, let's go a little sentimental, because it is the fabricated holiday of love coming up tomorrow, and we certainly love hearing good news about the scrap market, so we're going to take a little bit of an optimistic point of view here. Guys, this is Tom from the iScrap app. Today is February 13th, 2019. We'd like to join you every Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. live to be able to have an opportunity to talk to you about scrap. Thank you very much for the questions, posting your prices, and continuing to give us the opportunity to teach you more about the scrap metal markets. Until next week, iScrappers, I'll scrap you later.